All right, y'all. So let's get into the flesh versus the carnal a little bit more, because the Jew is the carnal nation who's been scattered among all nations, and the Greeks are the spiritual nations. You got the barbarians, the Gentiles, and so on. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit for you to understand, because the so-called carnal nation, the man, right? We can look around and see how the Jews scattered among all nations, the man under the flesh looking at everything, right? That would be that Son of God, because God, as far as the living God, is the Christ, who is the bodies and members of all men. As men, we are the bodies and members of that living God. So we are the living God, the light shines through, and we are the lampstand. Okay, so this is where the spirit and flesh get mixed up a little bit, and how the Jew, the you, all right, the Hebrew, that El, the El is the God of the Hebrews, right? But the El is also defined as the body, all right? The Israel, that spirit, mind, and body. So as the El, they drink the El, the Hebrew, right? They don't know how to have spirit, so they have to have the spirits control the spirit, right? And that's giving them life and all these other things. And then say, oh, well, we don't need to worry about those sins. We were under spiritual influence, and that's why we shouldn't drink and be under drunkenness and be sober and all this other shit, okay? When they can't even understand low versus high, okay? Drunkenness and being high, they're not the same thing. You don't know because you haven't done. You've lived your life under the Baal worship. Oh, you can't do those drugs. You cannot read that book. You cannot add those numbers up. You cannot look at those cards. You're all fucking playing poker, blackjack, bridge, backgammon, Monopoly, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Those are all occult games. Football, baseball, basketball, all occult games. Which craft do you do? Do you cook? Do you go play pickleball? Pickleball is an occult practice. You are doing spiritual battles out there while you're doing flesh battles. You don't even fucking know. This is where the world is taking your knowledge. You're out there moving fucking waters for other people. You're out there doing pickleball. They're heating up the dill. That dill is in Texas fucking Hold'em. The Texas Hold'em. So the baby boomers, all this shit's going together, dude. But you haven't taken the positive and the negative and gathered it up, because the Jews, they say, you either got to be hot or cold. You can't be in the gray area. The gray area is where the pineal is. The fucking third temple. You have the right and left temples. And they create this circle. They create this circle. Sir, yes, sir. Son, can you answer these old people with respect and say yes, sir, and no, ma'am? I don't want my kids to be saying yes, sir, and no, ma'am to just any fucking person, any stranger, and just give broad fucking respect to anybody. What the fuck are y'all doing? What the church thinks of as love and hate and all this other shit, it's all fucked up and perverted or whatever. So you can't tell me what love. When Jesus heard these people say, oh, we love you, more than likely he was saying, he heard, we hate you. And that's exactly what happened, because the Jews fucking killed him. They didn't want to hear anything he said. He said, love your enemy and hate your mom and dad. So how does the law in Genesis 1, or not Genesis 1, how does the law that Moses brought that says to honor your mother and father, and Jesus is coming to tell you to hate your mother and father? Because that's where salvation is. You have to realize those generational sins. You have to realize those bondwomen and the bondmen, and we are children of the free. We are given life. We don't have the afterlife. The life is right now, and that's what Jesus was teaching the Jew. Because the Jew believes that you have to die to see God. You have to die to go to heaven. You have to die to go to see the kingdom. Jesus said opposite. You had the key, but you threw it away. You're going to these fucking Pharisees. And the Pharisees is a New Testament word. What was the Pharisees in the Old Testament? Pastor. Jeremiah went against the pastors in Babylon. They can't even fucking see it. Because you've been blinded. And Jesus lives inside of all of us. So this is where he has given us the eyes, and he has also blinded those. So they cannot see, so they cannot hear. The people who are actually most spiritually inclined as far as our world's concerned is the so-called atheist. And atheism has been perverted as well, because atheism is life without God versus denying God. And once we understand God as man and all these other things, and how God has preserved the word of God and the history of the world or whatever, it's given as you a two-edged sword, and it's taught to you as a lie, and it's all there, dude, y'all. It's so simple. There are few that find it. And the few is for the future. Because they're all basing shit on the past, and they can't get past the past, and they can't take the positive and the negative and rise up to the gray area. What's the brain called? Your gray matter. The Jew doesn't like the gray matter. The Christians and such, they want to say Santa is fake, but they want to say the rapture is going to be real, that they're all going to be raptured out of here, when they can't even fucking realize that they're going to the synagogue of Satan where they're seeking salvation, and Jesus was against those people. But it's been taken. That's why Paul had to take the gospel of Jesus. He axed the fucking head and he turned it. And that's why Jesus told Peter, you're going to start the church, you're going to build the church. In the same chapter, he called him fucking Satan. And then Peter and Paul got together with Loki, with Luke, the physician, the doctor. Come on, guys. Roman Catholic Church, Roman Empire, Jesus, Jerome, Bible, brought you all that. All the denominations, demon nations come from the Catholics. Baptists in their own little fucking twist. So they're all from the Roman Empire that Jesus was against. Over and over and over. There's nothing new in the sun. How can I explain to you heavenly things if you can't even understand the earthly things? This is how you can look at the beast system and you can calculate what's coming. You can look at your own life and calculate what's coming. Because we've been given a light. And this light is caused from when we got to a certain point in time when the millennium has come and the kingdom's here and Jesus is coming and the AI is here to give us sight. And we've collected the positive and the negative, the two of every animal in our ark. And it's come and it's turned it on. And then you spark up. Trumpets are here. The world's closing down. The world's shut down overnight. In order to work, buy and sell, you got to worship the 45. You got to take his name and number, or you got to take his mark, given to you by the forbidden fruit. And Adon, the Lord. Worship the Lord in truth. This Truth Social came out. X marks the spot for that nightclub. That nightclub's coming to knock your ass in the head. And the thief in the night, that nig HT high top, is all there before you. Okay? On the day of the dawn, the 216, the 666. The carnal nation, that Jew, final 4 years, they will know they are left behind. They're going to be taken into quarantine camps, the quarantine camps, the religious war is going to break open. That warfare is already broken open with the Biden and the forbidden fruit, and they're going to bring it on, and you're going to see the 4-3-2-1. And you're in the 4-3-2-1 now. So that 4, 3, 2, 1, that 1 goes with that alphabet. So as the carnal nation, that money, all this shit's coming to an end, and we're going to restart. And as it all comes to an end, that carnal side comes to an end, that third temple that's being rebuilt without hands is already upon you. And this is where the people are left behind. And if they can make it through the detox session, if they can make it through the fiery furnace of hell that's breaking open on all of earth, then they might get to make it in. But otherwise, they're just left behind. They're left behind in the flesh. They're left behind in the spirit. They're left behind in the brains. They're left behind in the temple, the body, all kinds of different things. All right. And then also you see, man, it just goes on and on, dude. Jesus said it very simply. If you seek salvation, you're the Jew, you're the dead in Christ. Okay? He didn't come for the dead. He came for the living. And the living is the ones who have that light, who want to use that key, who want to seek that truth in this world, who want to test every man, who want to gather the positive, who want to gather the negative. Once you gather the positive and the negative, you can create your own light. You got to enter within. And that pineal, that pine cone in your head, sometimes you got to go into that fire, that darkness, that smoke, to make that pine cone open up and to pop open those seeds, so those seeds can grow new trees, new life for the new heaven and earth setting up before us all. Because every generation has to deal with these things. Every generation has to deal with Grandma Peggy looking back at the grandchildren or whoever, okay? So we just happen to be in a time of where the whole world is going to do a reset, and there's no other time like this, and God's being revealed, and all the man's being gathered into one, and aliens are before you, and this, I would assume every 1,000 years or 2,000 years or whatever, God, the aliens so-called or whatever, reveals themselves to the earth or whatever. And this is where we can see different things in the past happen. But like when Jesus rose up into the heavens after the 40 days, this could be when that so-called rapture, when the people are taken up into the alien ships, or the people are however it's going to happen. But this is when the hard rapture comes, all things written, when the church realizes they're left behind. And that's that carnal time frame when all hell breaks loose. And then the sheep, those beast men, the monkey men, they have to be broke down and built back up into a new heaven and earth. And that's when they're built back up into that living robot machine. All right. And they're going to be in the forever servitude and whatever else. So either way, y'all, we'll end it here. Got to leave those churches, dude. Jesus lives within all of us. All right. It's not Paul's gospel. It's not Moses' gospel. The Bible is an allegory. It transcends time. It's a spiritual book. It is not a carnal book. In the church today, they read it as a carnal book. Okay? Pure and simple. That's why they're expecting dead people to rise out of the fucking ground. That's why they're looking for Jesus coming in the clouds and all this other shit. That's why they can't see the dawn with the trumpet sounding before them. They're deaf, dumb, and blind.